Commander Teo stood at the observation window of the ancient space station. His 4 arms hung at his sides as he looked at the small blue planet far below. The planet was called Earth. It was a small world, not important in the eyes of the Valorian Empire. But today, it would become very important. Teo was a military officer. He had served the Valorian Empire for many years. The empire was very large and very powerful. It controlled many planets and many star systems. The Valorian people were strong. They were smart. They had the best weapons and the best ships. No one could stand against them, or so everyone believed. The communication system suddenly made a loud noise. A message was coming through. The voice on the other end was broken and weak. It sounded like someone was in trouble. The voice belonged to Captain Q1, a scientist who had been sent to explore the outer edges of space. The message was strange and urgent. Do not go to Earth, Captain Q1's voice said slowly. Do not send your ships. Do not land on that planet. The people there, they are different. They are not what they seem. I am warning you. This is a trap. Earth is a trap. Please listen to me. The message repeated again and again. Then it stopped. There was only silence. Commander Teo listened to the message 3 times. His skin, which was hard and dark like armor, made a small sound as he moved. He felt something in his chest. Was it worry? Fear? He was not sure. The message sounded serious, but Captain Q1 was just one person. One person could be wrong. Teo sent the message to the War Council. The War Council was the group of leaders who made all the big decisions for the Valorian Empire. They would decide what to do about Earth. In the big council room, the leaders sat around a long table. Fleet Admiral Min Ho was the most important person there. He was very old and very powerful. He had never lost a battle. He listened to the message from Captain Q1 and made a loud noise that sounded like laughter. One small ship sends us one weak message, and we should be afraid, Admiral Min Ho said. His voice was deep and strong. This is foolish. This planet Earth is small. Its people have no real weapons. They have no real power. They are primitive. We have fought much stronger enemies before. We will take this planet easily. The other leaders agreed with him. They thought he was right. No one wanted to look weak or afraid. No one wanted to say that the Valorian Empire should be scared of a small, primitive planet. But one person in the room did not agree. Her name was Dr. Han Buell. She was a scientist. She studied planets and people. She had looked at many pictures and reports about Earth. She knew a lot about this planet. Admiral Min Ho, Dr. Han Buell said carefully, Captain Q1 is a good officer. He would not send a warning unless something was very wrong. We should learn more before we attack. Admiral Min Ho looked at her with anger in his eyes. We know enough, he said. This planet has 6 billion people, but they are divided. They have different governments. They have different languages. They fight with each other. Their weapons are old. Their ships are slow. They do not even have a united defense system. How can such a divided people stop the great Valorian Empire? No one argued with the Admiral after that. He was too powerful. The Council made a decision that day. They would send their fleet to Earth. They would take control of the planet. They would take all of Earth's resources. The conquest would be easy and quick. The news spread through the Valorian Empire. Ships began to prepare. Soldiers got ready for battle. The Empire had conquered many worlds before. This would be just one more world added to their collection. But far away on the planet Earth, something different was happening. A woman named Lieutenant Park Jin sat in a dark room. The room was deep underground. Very few people knew about this room. Park Jin worked for an organization called the United Nations Defense Initiative. This group had a secret. They had been watching the sky for a very long time. They had been listening to radio signals from space. They had been preparing for something that no one else knew about. Park Jin heard the same message that the Valorians had sent. She heard Captain Q-Wan's warning. She and her team had been recording alien messages for years. They knew that other intelligent beings lived in space. They knew that one day, these beings might come to Earth. Park Jin took the message to her commander. His name was General Sung Taek. He was the head of all defense systems on Earth. He was a careful man. He thought about problems for a long time before making decisions. But when he heard this message, he did not hesitate. "How long until they arrive?" General Sung Taek asked. 4 months, Park Jin said. "Maybe less." The general closed his eyes for a moment, then he opened them again. "We will be ready," he said. "Call every nation. Tell every government. We need to meet tomorrow. Tell them it is about survival. Tell them it is about the future of humanity." Park Jin made many phone calls that night. World leaders from every country heard the message. They heard about the aliens who were coming. At first, many of them did not believe it. They thought it was impossible, but Park Jin and General Sung Taek showed them proof. They showed them the recordings. They showed them the pictures of the alien ships that had been photographed in space. The leaders of the world finally understood. Aliens were real. They were coming to Earth. And Earth needed to prepare for war. The United Nations held a secret meeting. All the countries of the world sent their leaders. For the first time in human history, every nation agreed on something important. They agreed that they must work together. They agreed that they must prepare to fight. They agreed that they must save their planet. General Sung Taek stood in front of all the world leaders. "We have 4 months," he said. "We have advantage they do not expect. They think we are weak. They think we are divided. We will use that belief against them. We will make them think we are giving up. We will make them think we are surrendering. But we will be preparing our real defense." Park Jin looked at the leaders of the world. Many of them looked scared, but they all nodded. They understood what had to be done. Back in space, the Valorian fleet was getting ready. Ships were being loaded with soldiers. Weapons were being checked. Commanders were making plans for easy conquest. No one in the Valorian Empire thought this would be difficult. No one thought Earth could really be a trap. They were all wrong. And they would soon learn a very important lesson about the people of Earth. The countdown had begun. In 4 months, the Valorian Empire would arrive at Earth. In 4 months, everything would change. In 4 months, a small blue planet would show the galaxy something it had never seen before. The trap was being built, and the trap was waiting. The Valorian fleet was enormous. Ships as large as mountains appeared in the sky above Earth. They came out of the darkness of space like a storm that no one could stop. The ships were made of metal that shined like silver. They had strange shapes that looked dangerous and powerful. Thousands of them filled the sky. The people of Earth looked up and felt fear in their hearts. Commander Teo stood on the bridge of the main ship. The bridge was the command center of the vessel. From here, he could see everything. Screens all around him showed pictures of Earth. The planet was blue and green and beautiful. But Teo did not care about beauty. He only cared about conquest. Admiral Minho's voice came through the communication system. He was on the largest ship in the fleet. "This is Fleet Admiral Minho," he announced. "I am broadcasting a message to all humans on the planet below. You will surrender now, or you will be destroyed. You have 1 hour to respond. After that, we will begin taking control of your world." The message was sent down to Earth in many languages. Every radio station, every television, every communication system received the same words. The people of Earth heard that aliens had come. They heard that they must surrender or die. But in the secret underground bunker, General Sung Taek and Lieutenant Park Jin received the message and smiled. This was exactly what they had expected. This was part of the plan. "Send the surrender signal," General Sung Taek ordered. "Make it look real. Make them believe we are giving up." Park Jin sent the message from every major city on Earth. Governments broadcast their surrender on television. They said that they could not fight. They said that they accepted defeat. They said that they would work with the Valorian Empire to make the transition peaceful. Admiral Minho received the surrender messages and felt satisfied. He had defeated the people of Earth without even firing a single weapon. He had always believed that conquest would be easy. Now he was proven right. "Begin landing operations," Admiral Minho commanded. "Send ground forces to all major cities. I want control of their communication systems, their power plants, and their centers of government. Move quickly and efficiently." The Valorian ships began to land. They came down like massive birds of metal. They landed in the biggest cities of the world. They landed in New York and Tokyo and London and Sydney. They landed in Seoul, where Lieutenant Park Jin had been born. They landed everywhere at once. Commander Teo was sent to lead the invasion in Asia. He took a smaller ship down to the ground. The ship was still enormous compared to human buildings. It landed in the center of Seoul with a sound like thunder. When the doors opened, Valorian soldiers stepped out onto the street. The soldiers were tall. They stood 3 meters high. They had 4 arms, each one very strong. Their skin was hard and protected them like armor. They carried weapons that could destroy buildings with a single shot. They moved down the streets, expecting no resistance, but the streets were empty. Teo frowned. This was strange. Where were all the people? The city should have been full of humans, but there was no one. The buildings were empty. The streets were quiet. It was like the entire city had disappeared. "This does not seem right," Teo said to the soldiers under his command. "Something feels wrong. Where are the inhabitants?" One of his officers, a soldier named Quan, said, "Perhaps they are hiding in their homes. Perhaps they are too afraid to come out." But Teo did not believe this. He had studied many planets. He had seen many civilizations surrender. But something about this felt different. The humans had given up too easily. The cities were empty too quickly. There was a feeling of being watched, even though he could see no one. Teo sent a message to Admiral Minho. "We have encountered no resistance," he reported, "but something does not feel right. I recommend caution. Perhaps we should not spread our forces out too thin." Admiral Minho did not listen to this warning. He was too confident. He was too certain of his own power. "You are being too cautious, Commander Teo," Minho replied. "There is nothing to worry about. These are primitive people. They have no weapons that can hurt us. Continue with the occupation as planned." So Teo and his soldiers continued their mission. They took over the communication centers. They took control of the power plants. They set up bases in the major cities. The occupation seemed to be going perfectly. Days passed. A week passed. Then 2 weeks. The humans seemed to be cooperating. They provided food and water for the Valorian soldiers. They opened their facilities and buildings without fighting. Everything was going exactly as Admiral Minho had predicted. But deep underground, in bunkers that the Valorians did not know about, the real preparation was happening. In Seoul, Lieutenant Park Jin worked with a team of engineers and soldiers. They had spent years preparing for this moment. They had hidden weapons everywhere. They had prepared positions where soldiers could fight and hide. They had built tunnels under the cities. They had planned every detail of their defense. In other cities around the world, other teams were doing the same thing. In New York and London and Tokyo and in every major city on Earth, humans were getting ready. They were checking weapons. They were reviewing battle plans. They were preparing their soldiers for the fight that was coming. The Valorian soldiers did not see any of this. They did not know about the tunnels. They did not know about the hidden weapons. They did not know that the humans had been preparing for this invasion for years. They did not know that the people of Earth were ready to fight. Teo still felt that something was wrong. Every night, he felt uncomfortable. He felt like the human city was a living thing that was waiting for something, but he could not explain this feeling to his superiors. He could not tell Admiral Minho that he was worried. The Admiral would only laugh at him. One night, Teo stood at a window of the building his soldiers had taken over. He looked out at the dark streets of Seoul. The city looked empty and dead. But he knew that somewhere out there, in the darkness, humans were watching him. Humans were planning. Humans were waiting. Teo did not know it yet, but he was right. The humans were waiting. They were waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They were waiting for the day when all of Earth would rise up against the invaders from space. And that day was coming very soon. In the bunker, General Sung Taek looked at a map of the world. Red marks showed where the Valorian soldiers were stationed. Blue marks showed where human forces were hiding. The general looked at the map and nodded. "Tomorrow," he said, "we begin. Tomorrow we show the galaxy what humanity is capable of." Park Jin felt her heart beating fast. She had spent her whole life preparing for this moment. Now it was finally here. Tomorrow the real war would begin. Tomorrow the trap would spring. Tomorrow the people of Earth would fight for their survival against an enemy that was stronger and more powerful. But the humans had something the Valorians did not have. They had hope. They had courage. And they had a planet that was their home. The night before the invasion was quiet. The Valorian soldiers slept in their bases, feeling safe and confident. They did not know that in a few hours, everything would change. They did not know that they had made a terrible mistake by coming to Earth. The trap was ready. The moment was at hand. And nothing would ever be the same again. The first light of dawn had not yet appeared when the signal was given. Lieutenant Park Jin sat in the command bunker beneath Seoul. Her hand moved toward a red button. When she pressed it, everything would change. There would be no going back. All the years of preparation would now be put to the test. All the planning would now become reality. Park Jin took a deep breath and pressed the button. Across the entire planet, at the exact same moment, the trap closed. Explosions happened in every major city where Valorian soldiers were stationed. The explosions were not huge. They were small and controlled. They were designed to damage equipment and communication systems, not to kill. This was important. General Sung Taek had given clear orders. They would fight, but they would show the aliens that humans were not murderers. They would show that humans could be civilized even in war. In Seoul, Commander Tayo was thrown to the ground by the explosion. The building shook around him. Alarms started to sound. Suddenly, everything became clear to him. The humans had been preparing for this all along. The surrender had been fake. The cooperation had been an act. They had been waiting for this moment. "This is Commander Tayo," he spoke into his communication device. "We are under attack. The humans have turned against us. Alert all units. Prepare defensive positions." But the communication system did not work properly. The humans had damaged it perfectly. Messages were confused. Orders were slow to get through. Tayo's soldiers were scattered across the city, separated from their vehicles and main equipment. They found themselves alone in a hostile city. In the streets of Seoul, human soldiers began to emerge. They came from tunnels and hidden positions. They carried weapons that fired at the Valorian soldiers. The weapons did not have the power of alien technology, but they were effective. They were designed to target the joints in Valorian armor where the plating was thinnest. A human soldier named Jun Ho led a team of fighters. His squad moved through the streets with skill and speed. They knew the city. They knew every building and every corner. The Valorians were strong, but they did not know the terrain. Jun Ho and his team used this advantage. When Valorians appeared, the humans retreated. When the Valorians followed, they fell into prepared positions where many humans waited. The Valorian soldiers were confused. They were used to fighting enemies that would stand and fight. But these humans did not follow the normal rules of war. They would fight and then disappear. They would attack from unexpected directions. The Valorians could not find a clear battle line. They could not organize a proper defense. The city itself seemed to work against them. In other cities around the world, the same thing was happening. In New York, human forces controlled the streets. In London and Tokyo and Paris and Moscow, humans were fighting the invaders. The Valorian soldiers found themselves trapped in urban environments where their weapons were not as effective. Admiral Minho received reports of the attacks from all around the world. At first, he thought it was nothing serious, but the reports kept coming. Soldiers were being isolated and captured. Supply lines were being cut. Communication with the ground forces was becoming difficult. "This is impossible," Admiral Minho said to his officers. "These are primitive people. They should not be able to do this." But they were doing it. The humans were coordinating attacks across multiple continents. The humans were using knowledge of their cities to create traps. The humans were fighting with intelligence and planning. The Valorian soldiers were beginning to understand that they had made a terrible mistake. Commander Teo found himself pinned down in a partially destroyed building. His armor had taken damage. One of his 4 arms was not working properly. Around him, Valorian soldiers were taking defensive positions, but they were running low on ammunition. They were running low on hope. Through a small opening in the building, Teo could see human soldiers in the streets. They moved with perfect coordination. Each soldier knew what the other soldiers would do. Each soldier covered the others. When one fell, another took his place without hesitation. Teo realized that he was watching a military force that had trained together for a very long time. These were not primitive fighters. These were professional soldiers. The humans did not attack the building immediately. Instead, they surrounded it. They cut off all escape routes. They had learned that the best way to defeat the Valorians was not with direct assault, but with patience and strategy. "Surrender!" a voice called out in the Valorian language. A human officer named Colonel Kim spoke through a communication device. "Your ship has been damaged. Your supply lines have been cut. Your soldiers are isolated. You cannot win. Lay down your weapons, and you will be treated fairly." Teo looked at his soldiers. Many of them were injured. All of them were tired. He realized that the human officer was right. They could not win. They were trapped in a city full of enemies. Their weapons were useless in this kind of warfare. More importantly, he understood now what Captain Q1 had tried to warn them about. Earth was not a primitive planet. Earth was a trap that had been carefully prepared over many years. "I will accept your terms," Teo said into the communication device. "I am ordering my soldiers to stand down. We will surrender." Around the world, other Valorian commanders were reaching the same conclusion. The invasion had failed. The conquest had turned into a disaster. The soldiers who had seemed so powerful were now prisoners of a people they had underestimated. In the sky above Earth, the Valorian fleet tried to respond. Admiral Minho sent orders to his remaining ships to prepare for bombardment. If they could not conquer Earth, then they would destroy it. The ships in orbit began to move into firing positions. Weapon systems were activated, but the humans had prepared for this too. Dr. Han Buell worked at a secret facility in the mountains of South Korea. She was one of the smartest scientists on Earth. For years, she had studied the alien technology from the probe that had crashed years ago. She had used that knowledge to create something new. She had created electromagnetic pulse generators. These devices could disable alien weapons and technology. When the Valorian ships tried to fire their weapons, Dr. Han Buell activated the generators. Electromagnetic pulses shot up into space. They hit the Valorian ships like invisible waves. The weapon systems of the ships shut down. The shields stopped working. The ships began to fall out of control. One of the largest Valorian ships, a dreadnought called the Pride of Valorian, took heavy damage. Part of its hull was exposed to the vacuum of space. The ship began to lose power. Admiral Minho realized that his dream of conquest was over. The Valorian Empire, which had conquered so many worlds, had been defeated by a single planet. A planet they had thought was weak and primitive had turned out to be their doom. In Seoul, Lieutenant Park Jin stood in the street, looking up at the sky. She could see the Valorian ships struggling in orbit. She could hear the sounds of battle around her. All across Earth, humans were celebrating their victory. They had done it. They had defeated the invasion. They had saved their world. But the real battle was just beginning. Now they would have to negotiate with the survivors. Now they would have to decide what it meant for Earth to join the galaxy as an equal force. The future was uncertain, but humans had proven that they could survive anything. The trap had worked perfectly. And now, the galaxy would never be the same. The pride of Valorian hung in space like a broken toy. Smoke and fire shot from its damaged hull. The ship that had been the most powerful symbol of the Valorian Empire was now crippled and helpless. Inside the ship, Admiral Min-ho stood in the dark bridge. The lights had stopped working. The screens were black. Around him, his officers were silent and afraid. The Admiral realized something that shocked him more than anything else could. The Empire was finished. The vast power that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years was broken. It had been broken not by another great empire, but by a single small planet. A planet that everyone had thought was weak and helpless. General Sung Taek's voice came through the communication system. The human general was speaking from Earth below. "Admiral Min-ho," Sung Taek said, "your fleet is defeated. Your ships have stopped working. Your soldiers are prisoners. You have two choices. You can continue to fight and be destroyed completely, or you can surrender and live. I am offering you 1 hour to make this decision." Admiral Min-ho closed his eyes. He had never surrendered in his entire life. The idea of it was painful. But he also knew the truth. Fighting was pointless now. Thousands of his soldiers were already captured. His ships were damaged. His weapons did not work. "I request a meeting," Min-ho said. "I wish to speak with your leaders face to face. I want to understand how this happened. I want to know how a primitive planet defeated the might of the Valorian Empire." General Sung Taek agreed. He set a place for the meeting. It would be in a secure facility deep underground on Earth. It would be a place where humans felt safe. It would show the Admiral that Earth was now in control. When Admiral Min-ho landed on Earth, he felt something strange. He had conquered thousands of planets, but he had never stood as a prisoner on one of them. Valorian soldiers had never been defeated before. They had never had to admit that they were wrong. But now, that is exactly what Min-ho had to do. General Sung Taek, Lieutenant Park Jin, and Dr. Han Buell waited in a conference room. The walls were made of thick concrete and steel. Computers surrounded them, showing maps and battle information. When Admiral Min-ho entered the room, he was wearing no weapons. His armor was damaged. He looked like a defeated creature, not like a great military commander. "Sit down, Admiral," General Sung Taek said. The general was not being rude. He was simply stating a fact. This was no longer a conversation between equals. This was now a conversation between the victor and the defeated. Min-ho sat down. He looked at the three humans before him, a military officer, a scientist, a general. They did not look like much, but they had defeated him. "How?" Min-ho asked. "How did you do this? We are stronger than you. We have better weapons. We have more soldiers. We have been fighting wars for 10,000 years. How did you defeat us?" Dr. Han Buell answered first. She was a scientist, and she loved to explain how things worked. "Admiral," she said, "you made many mistakes. The first mistake was not listening to Captain Q-Wan's warning. The second mistake was believing that we were primitive. We are not primitive. We are different. Our civilization developed differently than yours. But that does not make us weak. We spend our entire existence competing," Dr. Han Buell continued. "On Earth, different groups of humans have fought with each other for thousands of years. We learned how to be creative in battle. We learned how to use our environment. We learned how to adapt to new situations. Every human is a tool maker. We take what we have and make it into something useful. Lieutenant Park Jin spoke next. When Captain Q-Wan warned you, humans immediately began preparing. We studied the technology that your probe left behind. We learned how it worked. We created weapons that could disable your equipment. We built bunkers and tunnels. We planned for 10 years how we would defeat you if you came. But more than that, Park Jin said, we prepared our minds. We knew we could not fight you directly. Your strength is too great, so we planned to use your own confidence against you. We made you think we were giving up. We made you spread your forces thin. We prepared our cities as battlefields. Every building was a position. Every street was a trap. You played our game, and you lost. Admiral Minho was silent for a long time. He was trying to understand. In all of his years, he had never met people who thought this way. Valorian warriors fought with strength and power. They did not hide. They did not trick their enemies. They believed that the strongest should always win. But your people are not as strong as mine, Minho said. Even now, we are more powerful than you. That is true, General Sung Taik said, but strength is not the only thing that matters. You can be strong and still lose. We were weaker, but we were smarter. We were patient. We prepared. We understood that the best victory is one where the enemy defeats himself. Captain Q-Wan tried to tell you this. Sung Taik continued. He saw something in us that you could not see. He saw that Earth was different. He saw that we would be dangerous. But you did not listen. You believed your own power too much. That is why you lost. Minho looked down at his hands. He thought about all the worlds that the Valorian Empire had conquered. He thought about all the species that had been forced to accept Valorian rule. He wondered how many of them had been planning something similar. He wondered how many had been waiting for the chance to fight back. What will happen to my soldiers? Minho asked. They will be treated fairly, Park Jin said. We are not like the Valorian Empire. We do not kill prisoners. We will hold them safely. When we reach a peace agreement, they can return home if they wish, or they can stay here and learn about our world. What will happen to the Valorian Empire? Minho asked. This question was more difficult to answer. General Sung Taik took a long time before speaking. The Valorian Empire as it is now will end, the general said. The empire was based on the idea that the strong can take what they want from the weak. But this is wrong. This is evil. We cannot allow this to continue. We will offer you a choice, Dr. Han Buell said. The galaxy will form a new alliance. A galactic alliance of many species working together. No more conquest, no more slavery, no more taking what belongs to others. Instead, we will share knowledge. We will help each other. We will grow together. And if the Valorian Empire refuses, Minho asked. Then we will defend ourselves, General Sung Taik said. But we do not want another war. We want peace. We want to show the galaxy that there is a better way to live. Admiral Minho sat in silence for a very long time. He was thinking about everything that had happened. He was thinking about how wrong he had been. He was thinking about how a single planet that everyone thought was weak had destroyed the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Finally, he spoke. I will need to think about this. I will need to discuss this with the leaders of the Valorian Empire. But I must tell you something. I came here thinking you were a young, primitive species. I am leaving knowing that I was wrong. You are something special. You are something dangerous. And perhaps the galaxy needs something like that. Perhaps, General Sung Taik said, the galaxy needs something more than danger. Perhaps it needs wisdom. The meeting ended. Admiral Minho was taken to a secure location. He would be held there while the people of Earth decided what to do with the Valorian fleet. In space above Earth, the damaged ships of the Valorian Empire hung helpless. The ships that had brought conquest were now symbols of defeat. The ships that had seemed so powerful were now just metal, waiting to be salvaged or repaired. The age of the Valorian Empire was ending. A new age was beginning. And it was all because of a small blue planet that had refused to accept defeat. The news spread through the Valorian Empire like fire. The invasion of Earth had failed. The most powerful military force in the galaxy had been defeated. Whole fleets had been destroyed or captured. Thousands of soldiers were prisoners. The event that had seemed impossible was now reality. In the great capital city of Valorian Prime, the government was in chaos. Meetings were held day and night. Some leaders wanted to continue fighting. Some wanted to destroy Earth as revenge. Some wanted to negotiate peace. The Valorian people, who had believed in their own superiority for 10,000 years, were now forced to face the truth that they were not as strong as they believed. The Council of Lords, the highest government body of the Valorian Empire, called for a special session. All the most important leaders were present. The halls of government were filled with angry voices and confused discussion. Then Admiral Min-Ho appeared before the council. He had been released by the humans to deliver a message and to negotiate terms. The sight of him shocked everyone. The admiral was still alive, but he was changed. His pride was broken. His confidence was gone. Min-Ho stood before the council and told them everything that had happened. He told them about the years of human preparation. He told them about the trap that had been set. He told them about how the humans had studied their technology and learned their weaknesses. He told them about how the humans had sacrificed their own comfort and safety to prepare for this moment. Most importantly, he told them the truth that he had learned on Earth. The Valorian Empire cannot rule the galaxy through strength alone. We thought we were invincible. We were wrong. We face an enemy that we cannot defeat through weapons or power. This enemy learns. This enemy plans. This enemy adapts. If we continue to try to conquer and rule, we will only face more defeats. The council was silent. What the admiral was saying went against everything they had believed. But they could not deny that it was true. Then Dr. Han Buell came before the council. The human scientist was allowed to speak to the leaders of the Valorian Empire. She was not afraid. She carried herself with confidence and respect. "I have a proposal," Dr. Han Buell said. "The people of Earth do not wish to destroy the Valorian Empire. We do not wish to conquer your worlds or take your resources. We only wish to be treated as equals. We only wish for peace and cooperation. I propose that the Valorian Empire end its policy of conquest. I propose that the galaxy be united not through force, but through agreement. I propose the creation of the Galactic Alliance. In this alliance, all species will be equals. All species will have a voice. All species will help each other instead of trying to dominate each other." Some of the council members laughed at this proposal. They thought it was foolish, but others listened carefully. They could see that what Dr. Han Buell was saying made sense. "If the Valorian Empire refuses this proposal," Dr. Han Buell said, "then humanity will defend itself. We will arm ourselves. We will prepare our defenses. But we do not want that. We want to live in peace with all species, including yours." The debate continued for many hours. Some council members wanted to reject the proposal. Some wanted to accept it. Finally, after much discussion, they agreed to accept the proposal. The Valorian Empire would end its age of conquest. The Valorian Empire would become part of the new Galactic Alliance. Back on Earth, Lieutenant Park Jin received the news with relief. The war was over. The Valorian Empire had agreed to peace. The first great threat to humanity's survival had been defeated without destroying the human race or the Valorian species. General Sung Taik held a press conference to announce the agreement to the people of the world. He told them that humanity had won. He told them that from now on humans would be recognized as an equal species. He told them that the future would be different from the past. "The world has changed," General Sung Tak said to the cameras and the people. "For the first time in human history, all nations have worked together for a common goal. We have shown the galaxy what humans can do when we are united. We have shown that we can be peaceful, but also strong. We have shown that we will not accept domination or injustice." The people of Earth celebrated. In every city, in every country, people gathered to celebrate the victory. They celebrated that they were still alive. They celebrated that they were still free. They celebrated that they would now be part of a wider galaxy as equals, not as slaves. But the celebration was not just about the victory in war. It was about something more. It was about humanity finally understanding what it was capable of. It was about the world coming together. It was about hope for the future. In the months that followed, the work of building the Galactic Alliance began. Representatives from different species came to Earth to discuss peace and cooperation. Humans were invited to sit at the table of galactic government. Dr. Han Buell was chosen to represent Earth on the Galactic Council. She accepted this responsibility with great pride. Lieutenant Park Jin was promoted to General Park Jin. She became the head of the United Earth Space Force. Her job was to maintain peace and to help protect other worlds if they were threatened. But her primary goal was to make sure that what happened to Earth would never happen again. She worked to share human technology and human military knowledge with other species so that no one could ever be taken by surprise. General Sung Tak retired from his position. His work was done. He had led humanity through its greatest challenge. He had united the world. He had defeated an alien invasion. He had changed the course of history. Now it was time for a new generation to lead. Commander Teo was allowed to return to the Valorian home world. But before he left, he spent time on Earth with the humans who had captured him. He studied their methods of warfare. He studied their history. He studied their culture. When he finally left Earth, he was changed. He understood now why his people had lost. He understood that strength alone was not enough. The new Galactic Alliance was not perfect. There were disagreements about trade and resources. There were arguments about how to handle different situations. But there was no conquest. There was no war. There was only discussion and negotiation. In the universities on Earth, students began to study galactic history. They learned about the invasion. They learned about the trap. They learned about how humans had defeated a far more powerful enemy through planning and intelligence. A teacher named Min Ji stood in front of a class of students. Many of these students were human, but some were alien. The aliens had come to Earth to study and to learn about humanity. They had come because Earth had become famous throughout the galaxy for its intelligence and creativity. The invasion of Earth taught the galaxy an important lesson, Teacher Minji said. It taught us that power and strength are not the most important things. Intelligence and cooperation are more important. Planning and patience are more important. Understanding and respect are more important. What we learned from Earth is that any species, no matter how small or how young, can accomplish great things if they work together. Humans survived when they should have been conquered. Humans became the equals of the most powerful empire in the galaxy. And most importantly, humans showed the galaxy that there is a better way to live than through conquest and domination. The students, both human and alien, listened carefully. They understood that they were learning about something special. They were learning about the day when everything changed. They were learning about the day when humanity refused to accept defeat. They were learning about the day when a small blue planet changed the entire galaxy. The trap had been set long ago. It had taken years to prepare. And now, many years after the invasion, the results of that trap were still being felt. The galaxy was a different place because of what happened on Earth, and everyone in the galaxy knew it.